Political issues concerning Nigeria. My name is Bon Osoro, your host, and tonight on the program, we will be reshaping our conversations towards Nigeria's population in the diaspora. Nigeria boasts about the biggest diaspora community in Africa. About 17 million Nigerians are said to stay outside the shores of the country. But how are these people who are Nigerians? Most of them grew up in Nigeria, or some have parentage that is linked and connected to Nigeria, contributing to our democracy. And in what way can those who are outside the shores of Nigeria assist our democracy? That's a conversation we bring to you tonight. But before we get straight into our conversation, let's go for a short break. And when we're back, we'll head straight into our conversation for tonight. Please stay with us.
Politics decides our economy. Politics shapes our security. Politics defines our future. But who is asking the hard question?
Is intimidating governors to our opposition, and some allegations even say monies are offered to the tune of billions of naira to these governors to come to the APC.
On Big Talk, we take politics beyond party lines and press statements. We interrogate policies, challenge power,
and it shall be addressed,
and demand accountability from those who govern, from the presidency to the National Assembly, from state governments to grassroots politics. We break down the decisions that affect your daily life. No propaganda, no political comfort zone, just facts, context, and fearless conversations. Big Talk is where leaders explain, analysts dissect, and the people understand.
2015 elections were not held. They are doing rigging.
Don't just watch politics, question it. Tune in to Big Talk on Global Television every weekday from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. Join the conversation.
So welcome to the program. Now, I said tonight on the program, we look at Nigeria's thriving diaspora community. According to some data that we're looking at tonight, it says more than 17 million Nigerians are outside the shores of this country. And how are they contributing to shaping our politics, our policy, and our electioneering? We have joining us Dr. Uti Ncho, who is the chairman of the Cross Riverians in Diaspora, who's joined us on the program tonight. Thank you so much, Dr. Uti, for joining us on the program.
Thank you, Osoro, for having me.
Yeah. How are you, and how are Cross Riverians in Diaspora?
Yes, I am fine. It's nice to speak to the world about what is happening. Cross Riverians in Diaspora, we are fine. We are faring very well. And you can see the enormous contribution during the EMBA period, giving back to our home country and also to Cross River State. We are on, and we keep doing that to make sure that our country gets better and better, and the lives of average Nigerian keeps improving.
All right. So which of the country are you operating from?
I'm currently in England, in United Kingdom.
Okay, that's the UK.
Yes.
Absolutely. But let's talk about how's it been as a Nigerian community outside perceived politically. Of recent, there's been a lot of international politics about migration. I'd like to hear your view on some of these things. How are Nigerians perceived outside the shores of this country?
We have good image, you know. One of the things that they see about us is the resilience of every average Nigerian, hardworking, and we get things done. Nigeria community is one of the most intellect community outside, like the diaspora community, per se. If you look at data placed side by side, we are first before India and then China in terms of what we give back to host countries that we have. And when you look back home, you discover that these Nigerians that are doing so much better outside, we're not having that reflected in our country. And our wish as diasporans is to see that whatever we are giving out, like any progress that we are seeing and things that we know that is working better outside the shores of our country, we should reflect that, and maybe in terms of policy development, looking how we can add, example of it is, for example, if we see that infrastructure-wise, we are doing better outside, we could reflect on that and see how government can improve on the lives of an average Nigerian back home to make those infrastructure available for Nigerians.
All right, so still talking about Nigerian in diaspora. There's been a lot of international politics about that. Recently, we saw Donald Trump give a list of 75 nations that it will be difficult for them to go ahead with processing visas to the U.S. I like that you comment on that.
We bring in a lot of skills to the United States. As a chairman of CrossRiver, we have in terms of manpower to the United States alone, not giving visa restriction, that is international politics is involved. There is a bargaining power, what the U.S. is looking from countries like Nigeria and other countries that are on that list. We know so well that when the bargain is well, the United States places themselves first before any other. It depends on also the bargaining power of our foreign affairs and the mission from Nigeria to see how they can dialogue. Because visa in terms of migration is a give and take thing.
Right.
What you give and what you take. So they will come to the table and see dialogue. How many people you are restricting from coming to the United States and how many people from the United States may likely want to come to Nigeria. So in that way, they may decide then they will have a waiver for Nigeria or any country that is in that list. So what the restriction itself is not because of the image of Nigeria. Yeah, we know that so every country have their good and bad, the ugly, but it's not because of that. It's because of some of the complex challenges, a lot of things that has to do with international security, people going into countries without coming back and all that. So they place all those things together and decide what they need to, take from there. But I know that in the end of the day, those things may come into dialogue and people will be accepted. I know the image, for example, you made mention of image of an average Nigerian and what image of an average Nigerian. One, before you come from a background where there is complex reality. The complex reality in the sense that before now, the migration aspect used to be involuntary. Now it's voluntary migration. So there are certain things like climate change, poverty, lack of manpower, unemployment that is making people to migrate. And right now, it's not only basically like people that are unskilled. Now we have more skilled labor migrating from, all African countries, especially from Nigeria. So when they see that there's mass migration, many countries will look at the international policies and try to reflect on what they need to do to cut that and also not to affect their own manpower back home. So that is why you are seeing those back and forth.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I still like to stay with you concerning this information as to how Nigerians are treated abroad, and because a lot of discussions has been going on. But of recent, we've seen the U.S. president, for instance, talking about how they seem to be genocide. Of recent, they said the killing is both sides. But we saw a lot of that discussion. How is Nigeria discussed by those who are in the diaspora? What are some of the discussions and what are the things you hear when you meet with Nigerians who are outside the country?
Nigeria is very concerning to every average Nigerian. If you go to, barbing salons where women make their hair, where Nigeria gathered in meetings, in parties, you see, we discuss that a lot and we ask questions. And Nigerians, an average Nigerian, even in groups, like our group, we ask questions, what can we do? What is really happening? How can we mitigate whatever challenges that Nigeria face in terms of mass murder and all that? Religious-wise, we know religious politics are complex things that are always on topic of discourse in Nigeria. So when you place that side by side, you see some group will tell you it's genocide, some will tell you it's affecting most sides, but you will see the trend from data outcome from the background of research. So we place things side by side with data. We look at what is the data saying about the killings and what are the perceptions of the people. So data is saying that Christians are killed the most in some certain part of the country, especially in the middle belt of Nigeria. Then if you look at in the northwest part of Nigeria, you discover that this conflict is affecting more of the Muslim community. Then you look at the data, put the data side by side on the number of killings. In terms of data-wise, you discover that Christians are killed and also displaced from their host community. So the United States and other international community will look at those data and decide to make complaints, especially, call it by its name that this is a genocide. There's a mass migration. Many people are living in IDP camps, so they will call it by that name. So, but you look at our own political landscape, especially as Nigerians, we try as much as possible not to use languages that the innocent people, for example, we have been living, both Muslims and Christians have been living in peace. So nobody will want to use a language that will be kind of generalizing that an average Muslim or anybody that is maybe Fulani is murdering another group and all that. So we try as much as possible looking at ways to live in peace and also to see how we stop the mass killing. So an average Nigerian outside always discuss with that concept. When you see us outside the shores of Nigeria, you don't know the difference between an Hausa man, the Yoruba man, the Fulani man, the Igbo man. You don't know the difference. It's only when we go to back to Nigeria or you are on social media that you discover that we call people by where they are coming from or ask questions, where are you from, what direction are you coming from? So we want to we look at the way to see how Nigerians will be more formidable, where we could speak in one language. When I say one language, it's not like dialectic in a way, but in a language that an average Nigerian will be more concerned in, be their brother's keeper, not because of their tribe or their religion or anything.
Right, absolutely. But let's look at the pattern of migration. At least one organization is saying that since 2011, we've had more than 5 million Nigerians, especially people who are between the ages of 20 and 45 who have left the country. Is that data disturbing? You've talked about data background and looking at this migration data. Is it disturbing to you as a Nigerian?
Yes, it's a very disturbing data. The best of our countries are leaving. Who is going to build the country is one of the things that we normally ask. As a Nigerian, it's very concerning. You go to our hospitals, the hospitals are empty. There are some states that have the whole state have 39 medical doctors practicing in public hospital, aside the teaching hospitals that maybe give consent. So it's a very concerning data. The nurses are leaving. Now we have a trend where even skilled professional and people moving their businesses abroad. So it's a very concerning data.
Right. So what is leading to Nigerians leaving the country? And what is driving, it said, the Japa syndrome?
It's policy changes. When the economic situation, even to the well-to-do or the middle class, is no longer functional. So you will see people tends to look for a way of survival. It has been a way of man, even in the animal kingdom, when they know that there's scarcity. You discover that there is mass movement of animals from one position to the other. That is what is also applicable to humans like mammals. So we tend to move to where it's a little bit favorable to us, or where we can live. The political situation, the policy, the way of life, insecurity, a complex reality that you cannot even buy what is used to be like affordable to middle class. So the Nigerian government needs to build a middle class. This middle class needs to be kind of intentional. When I say middle class, for example, if a professor in a university cannot fuel his or her car in a month and also take care of the basic need, that is a concerning thing. If a medical doctor working, on the 40 hours a week cannot survive in a country like Nigeria, then it's concerning. Then they will look for a way of survival. And that way of survival, one is like, okay, we have a colleague that we used to work in the same place, and that person had moved, 2 years ago, and his life is balanced, and he's living very okay, without worried of insecurity concerning about what to eat the next day. So they will want to also move. I believe that the Nigerian government need to reflect on their policies and be very deliberate to work on what they need to do in terms of building the middle class. And if they don't do that, then there will be disintegration, because the middle class is a catchment. It's like a center pillar that holds those that are within the poverty line and those that are critically poor, and the very rich and the super rich.
Right, Doctor. Okay, go ahead. Just conclude your thoughts, Doctor.
So, if the middle class is not tied properly to make sure that the middle class is the one basically mitigating the pains of an average person. Let me set an example. When you move from, many people migrate or they go to the universities, one of the things they do is that if parents send their children to universities, they look for an uncle or auntie that is a little bit doing very well. Then they send their children to the university. So it will ease the pain of that parent that send that child to the university, because they have somebody that is a middle class that will take care of maybe immediate bills, water, pay light and the rest, and provide food for that person. Now, people don't allow anybody to come stay with them because they cannot even manage their average family. So if they cannot manage their average family, it will fall back to the parent that is a farmer back home to solve that problem. So that is why I say the middle class is the pillar that holds the super rich and the poor and the wealth, and the rich. The rich in the sense that how the middle class holds the rich is, if the middle class is disintegrated, that means the person that is super rich will also be insecure. There will be things around the super rich. So the super rich will want to look for a way to move out of the country also, even though they are comfortable.
Right, absolutely. But Doctor, let's talk politics now, national politics. In 2023, we saw a kind of fever from those who are abroad, those who stay in the diaspora. A lot of Nigerians in the diaspora were interested in the 2023 general elections. We saw GoFundMe accounts being set up. We saw funds being mobilized for certain candidates in Nigeria. Talk about that 2023 elections and the passion that it drew from people who are outside Nigeria. What was driving the passion? Is it wanting to be involved in Nigerian politics? Because we've also seen a pattern where, from data I was looking at, more than 60% of people who live in Nigeria always want to get residency and along the way get citizenship of their country they migrated to. So why were they so interested in the 2023 general elections in Nigeria?
Between 2021, immediately after the COVID, and when the COVID started easing, we discovered that there were also relaxation of immigration rules in countries like the United Kingdom, the United States, in places like Canada, Germany. So they relaxed the rules because many people retired. nurses retired, medical doctors retired, junior doctors retired. So we have a pool of people within the medical field, technicians and the rest. So we have mass migration of those groups into these countries, right? And when they came, they saw something completely different. Imagine the United Kingdom data, you could see that they are talking about almost 2 million people moving into the United Kingdom within these few years. So between 2022 and 2023 was election year. And these new immigrants saw that they are seeing a completely different thing. If they could put their voice out there and ask for a change, that means they saw a Messiah, all right? They saw something that could come completely. Somebody was telling them something. For example, most of the people mobilized in diaspora communities mobilized for Peter Obi, right? They saw that he could be a candidate that will come with a different mindset to change the country. And they saw the APC candidate, who is our current president, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, as somebody that will continue from where the former president, the late General Muhammadu Buhari, stopped. So they saw it as he had bad policy in place. The whole thing, economy, what they call average naira to dollar was completely collapsed. The collapsation, the economy was almost going down. So they rely on mobilizing themselves. Nigeria built communities, they built platform, both all the social media, to make sure that they upturn the government to bring somebody that they can talk to. They wanted the president. Nigeria wanted the president. Nigerians in the diaspora, especially the majority of the diaspora community, wanted somebody that they can, question. If things are not going well, they will say, you came with this promise. Going to that 2023 election, the current president was not speaking to Nigeria properly. We're always speaking to Nigeria through large platforms. So the other candidates were having dialogues with Nigeria. So they come out here, have dialogues with Nigeria, speak to Nigeria, hear the opinion, what they need to do, and they know they have clear mindset on this is what we are going to hold this president accountable for. So those were the things that made them to start mobilizing, looking out for ways to put in their fund, and they were very serious. You could see the result that one of the candidates in that election that do not have a very large platform coming out third in the election, and some of them in the diaspora, they still have the mindset that they won the election. They believe that winning that election or having that number of votes is like them winning an election. So they believe that they are still mobilizing, but I think they are also looking at their candidates. The perception now is that the candidate they mobilized, for example, in the last election, have moved into a platform within a group. A group that they are not comfortable with. They don't think that candidate, for example, Peter Obi, doesn't stand a very good chance in the ADC.
Right.
So, but they still have the mindset of supporting Peter Obi. Peter Obi is a flag bearer of the ADC. But they won't have that. He may not have that kind of support if he's not a flag bearer, for example.
Right. So, let's talk about why. I also took data about a lot of Nigerians who want to get residency and ultimately get citizenship in those other countries. And we've seen it, for instance, in the US, just a minute, in the UK where you are, the leader of the Conservative Party has a heritage from Nigeria, though she could talk about her heritage as to how Nigeria is this and that to her. But we know that. And even in the UK and the US, we are seeing Nigerians who are winning county elections.
Yes, many Nigerians feel basically they won't be very proud to fly another man's flag. And an average Nigerian is very proud of being a Nigerian. Nigeria are very bold people. In workplace, in wherever you find Nigeria, you will know that this is a Nigeria. If you see a Nigeria in the street of London, you will know that is a Nigeria. We are very proud of our heritage. Most people sought out for citizenship because it's a way to relax how much they spend on a day-to-day basis or a year, securing maybe skill work visa, paying for immigration health surcharge, and paying for things like, some Nigerians pay for their children's schools. But when you're a citizen, you have access to those things, so you kind of relax, But and also, if you are a citizen or you have indefinite leave to remain in those countries, you may have access to public fund. So the public fund in a way that you could have access to council housing, you could have access to, people settling some of the debt that you may have incurred. So people sought out for citizenship not basically because they are proud of being among the community, but they are looking for a way out to make sure that they won't continuously pay for some of the charges like visa, as all the things that I've mentioned.
All right, so like you've mentioned, in 2023 we saw a pattern. It was online mobilization and all of that, especially for those in the diaspora community. And there was one thing that was really ringing. The opposition said there's no polling booths online. How does that affect diaspora engagement in Nigerian politics? I see a lot of people who still comment on Nigerian politics from the diaspora. They write theses, they write articles on the politics of Nigeria. But on the field, not just mobilizing, do we have diasporans who are able to come to participate in the process, maybe get involved in electioneering, get to vote and all of that?
Yes, majority of the people that they have this passion always do well to come to vote. And we are also, one of the things that we are working as the diaspora community is to make sure that we have opportunity to vote even outside the country.
Yeah, I'm coming to that. We'll talk about diaspora voting.
Yes, so we feel that it shouldn't end in mobilization, but an opportunity to vote. And you made mention of people asking if there are polling units there is no online polling units. So there is what we call the voice. So many people are even back home, they look up to people in the diaspora. So this mass media, we also have people from the diaspora giving, contribution to building communities. So there are voices within those communities. So when they write articles, they are campaigning, they are mobilizing. They are not only mobilizing for themselves, they are mobilizing for their community. Let me use myself, for example, going to the elections. I told people within my polling unit, I told them my direction, who they should vote for House of Reps, for Senate. I told them who to vote for President, for governor. So, and they went the same direction. If you see the lineup of the election, it went towards the same direction, what I said it should do. But I was an opportunity to be in the last election, but I was in previous ones. What I'm trying to say is that you give the direction because you are a voice in your community. Right. And you want something from the community, and the community wants something from you. So diasporans could be that mediators, and they have people that listen to them. You're right. So now, going back to the specific, which is there's no polling unit. If you check the APC now, there is what the APC is doing is online registration. They are also gauging to see how much people we have from this world. So they are looking at their number, and they are also trying to check their number. So it's not about people getting slips anymore. So they are seeing their data, the data of their membership from every polling unit in the country. That is what the opposition is not doing yet. I think the opposition may look at it. The opposition were supposed to be the ones mobilizing in that direction, because the ruling party could have been, I'm in power. But the ruling party is the one mobilizing their people and doing online registration. So I think it will get to the point where that mobilization will come from the opposition political parties to mobilize their people to register, so that they will be, the fulcrum. Because without opposition, we do not have democracy.
Right, absolutely.
So,
right. Yeah, okay, absolutely. Let's talk about diasporan voting now. It's been on the front burner at least since 2011. There's been a lot of talks about let us allow Nigerians who are outside the country to be able to participate in our election. We have a thriving diaspora population. Over 17 million Nigerians are outside. But at the last count, the act mandating the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, doesn't give them the right to allow those who are outside Nigeria to vote at the moment. Yes, we are having constitutional review handled by the Office of the Deputy Speaker, but it's not yet concluded. As of now, it is in the pipelines, and we do not know if that will be included in our Constitution. 1999 will be amended very soon before we get into the 2027 general elections. But I'd like to hear your view. How far with diaspora voting, and what are the activities? How could that be done if eventually we get to adopt it in our country, Nigeria?
We are advocating for that. I was part of a team that tried as much as possible between 2019 and 2020, polling our support to see how we can push for that, for diaspora voting, and we'll continue to do that. One of the drawbacks we have from the diaspora is that we do not have what we have currently in our embassies across the world are career civil servants that are in our embassies now. So if we have ambassadors, high commissions sent to all the countries, they are politicians. You can't dialogue with them and push from them because they are our representatives. They are our representatives in the diaspora. So we keep talking to them and see how we mobilize our support. But we have also, in some of our segments, we've been speaking to our senators, our lawmakers in House of Representatives to push for diaspora voting. And we have so many people like one of the senators from Delta State that is also very serious about that is pushing that agenda because he has been a diasporan and he understands what we could bring to the table. We could change a lot of things. We have the mindset that we can, we will vote without, an average diaspora may vote without a different mindset, perception of maybe tribalism or religion. He will vote based on, assessing the capacity of the candidate. I think that is one of the things that even some of the leaders of our countries are not comfortable with, because they have bastardized the voting processes by giving incentives. So if we have 17 to 20 million people living in the diaspora, and most of these people, Nigerians living in the diaspora, are between an average voting age. And the president, in the last election, the president won by a margin of less than 2 million. So it could turn a lot of things and change things. Imagine when the diasporans were mobilizing during the last election, and that pool of votes could come from a direction towards one candidate, then the diaspora could upturn that election. So we are wishing that the Nigerian government, also our politicians in the national, our lawmakers in the national assemblies should look into that as a matter of urgency to create an opportunity for the diasporans to vote, to have the opportunity to vote.
All right, so let's still staying with topics concerning mobilizing, coordination, and communication. We saw that in the last election, 2023 general elections, we saw President Tinubu at Chatham House, where he was having engagement. How has it been after that? Do we still have the diaspora community, maybe even the international community, liaise with our diaspora community, to be able to engage our Nigerian politicians? They seem to speak more or seem to like to speak when they're outside the country.
Chatham House always invites, they are the ones inviting, they co-invite people, they have their time, they have their scale when they need to, speak with our leaders. And most times this dialogue and our politicians make themselves available when it's getting close to the election. 2026 and 2027 will be election and activity year. You will see that many people will start speaking from outside. But the real time that we think that our politicians should speak to us as diasporans is when they are looking for ways to people to contribute in terms of policy, in terms of development. How can we make infrastructure available for our people? We don't need campaign slogans. We don't need campaign tunes. What we look at for is, can our country be comfortable enough for us so that we will go back when we spend some time here, we could go back to our country. That is what I think an average diasporan should be looking out for. But our politicians speak with us in podiums during the elections period, and after the election, they disappear. Going to 2027, they will still come back. With the same line of thought, with the same stories and the rest, and after the election, they disappear again. So we don't have that opportunity where we have roundtable conversations with our leaders, but in Perseverance in the Diaspora, we are making a year-to-year thing for us to see how we can create opportunities where we will have our leaders come to have dialogue with us. We could speak to them. And I believe that Nigerians in the diaspora community will take that not only to have sections in Abuja where we have business sections, economic sessions that are held in Aso Rock, and many people will not be able to travel, but we will have like town hall meetings across cities in countries of the world where we have our leaders or our president or sending representatives to speak with us and learn from what we really want for our country.
All right, so let's talk about something called name and shame. We saw something like that where Senator Ike Ekweremadu was, confronted by some persons who are in the diaspora, and they accosted him as to how he was spending and some of the projects he was doing. Do you think that's a step in the right direction, where people from the diaspora could maybe talk to politicians? And we've seen protests being done. Maybe a politician is in a hotel and those in the diaspora offer some level of protest and resistance and say, go back to fix Nigeria. Do you think those kind of mobilization and civil action is needed, so these politicians, instead of just running to those countries, will be able to fix the country here?
We want our country to be fixed, but we live in country of law and order, not country of assaults. We don't. I won't advise anyone, or I will not invariably be part of any jungle justice, because what happened to Ekweremadu was kind of jungle justice. But sometimes, as a Nigerian, you feel the pain, in your heart, that these people have the opportunity to change things for an average Nigerian, but it's not working. And if you look back at what really happened during the time, there's repercussion for everything in the surface of the earth. We always there's nature. The people don't need to have put Ekweremadu in that position. Nature came back, because it's a natural thing. If you build a hospital for your country, nature will come back. It's just like what happened to the former president. Nature came back. It was so shameful that after spending almost 10 years, including to treat you in your country. So nature will definitely come back. So I do not support that. We want to speak like humans, because we are different from every we are humans, and we should be very civil, but we could use dialogue, and also in a way we may be harsh. Fix this thing, fix our country, so that we will have a country that we will be proud of.
Right, so let me just add to that. I was asking about peaceful protests, but let's stay on the unity between various communities in the diaspora. Do we have people from the north, east, west, and south of Nigeria working together as Nigerians and just thinking about how to assist the politics at home without rancor, without ethnicism, tribalism that we see a lot happening in Nigeria?
Yes, Yes, we have so many communities of Nigerians in the diaspora. I belong to a group where we have people from the 36 states and the capital. And it's a group of think tanks, so that we think about our country. And we have so many of those groups that I may not be aware of. So I believe that they are countries. But in terms of groups, like larger group, we have the Nigeria Diaspora Commission. Majority of the officials live back home and they move from countries to countries. We have other groups, but we majorly have like ethnic nationalities coming together in different forms, But we continue. We are a building community. We're looking at for a very strong and community, Nigeria community, where we have a stronger voice and speaking for. And if you see, I've mentioned this before, that if you look at, you see Nigerians in groups, they definitely do not ask you where you're coming from. They will treat you just because you mentioned that you are Nigerian. They will treat you like a Nigerian. Very few immigrants want to care about where you come from,
All right, so you said something about bringing those who have experience, who've worked in policy, who've worked in governance outside Nigeria, to come to Nigeria and offer, their expertise in several areas. We've seen that. But do you think this current government is doing enough? And what is the direction for diasporans as we head towards 2027? Is there a party that are gearing towards? So I'm asking two questions. One, is this current government, utilizing the Nigerian community from diaspora to bring in their expertise, and what direction are they tilting towards politics? We have the ADC now, the new kid on the block. The Labour Party is still there. That's Ibaba Ahmed is still a member of the Labour Party. We have the PDP, who, yes, may be going through trouble, but at one point was the biggest political party in Africa, so you can't underrate them. And of course, the ruling APC and several other political parties. So what direction are those in the diaspora gearing towards?
There have been talks. I'm very surprised with the opposition political parties. I don't know if there is anybody that is taking responsibility to mobilize the diaspora at the moment, but I know that the APC is mobilizing the diaspora community, and also before now the PDP had a diaspora leadership. The PDP had the diaspora leadership, very strong diaspora leadership across the world that were working strongly before there were disintegrations, and some of the people had moved to the current the leading political party, which is the APC. For the ADC, recently I saw that they had a board of trustees formed in the United States, but I have not seen any of their global leadership and mobilization across the world. We're looking forward to that because I believe in strong opposition. When you say utilization of people in the diaspora by the current leadership of the country, no, we've not had that. The president that actually utilized diasporans was Goodluck Jonathan. He understands the importance of what the diasporans could bring to the table. From ministers to very strategic positions, they were all diasporans, and they create a very enabling environment for economic boom. I think our presidents should look inward and do that as a matter of urgency, because we still have up to 2020, end of May of 2027, that is a lot of time for policy changes and also opportunities to bring something completely different from what we have at the moment to energize the government and also to upturn things towards a very positive economic direction.
All right, Dr. Ncho, now, one of the policies that would be discussed as we get into the 2027 general elections will be that of the fuel policy and the dollar standardization. But let's talk about the fuel policy. We hear politicians in Nigeria say fuel outside Nigeria is more costly than what is bought in Nigeria. Do you buy that argument?
We do not place that. We look at the economic power. I do not buy the argument of somebody, for example, that is earning $3,500 in a month, and what he's spending on maybe fueling his or her car in a month is $80. And to an average Nigeria, what is the salary of an average Nigeria?
70,000. 70,000 is minimum wage, doctor.
Yeah, so you see that that is not you do not need to place that side by side. At least if a Nigerian should be spending something on anything, maybe a liter of fuel, it should be between 140 naira. That should be based on the minimum wage.
Right. Right. So, and other economic indices that would be discussed are the strength of our dollar to the naira, and even the pound, right? Sometimes goes as high as 2,000. How does that affect the economy back home?
If you check diaspora remittance and what the Nigerians, for example, generate, and the economic activities that take both from agriculture to crude to basic mineral resources, we discovered that remittance is the one that is also trying to weigh in on what our people face back home. And now we have more people, when they send this, it's also it's an opportunity for people to relax on some of their finances, school fees, or what they eat and all that. But you discover that the standard of living of Nigeria, average Nigeria, is depreciating based on policies that have been put in place, right? And when policies are put in place and there is nothing to weigh in on, it affects the whole thing. So there is a chain, the chain of reaction it could come from what the current president had met on ground, and also trying to mitigate that and thinking, this could be the way to fix this situation. But I think in my own analysis, I know basically is to cut waste. That is one of the things that will make the life of Nigerians. If Nigerians cut the wastage from their politicians, because the wastage from leakages in terms of corruption of officials, you discover that you will have enough and things will come back to normal.
All right, so as we try to end the program now, Doctor, I'd like to ask, in all of the problems Nigeria is facing, economy is still a problem, we have insecurity as an issue, we have corruption. Which of them is the diaspora community thinking that is the most serious problem to be fixed in Nigeria?
The treaties you mentioned, they are very important. But I think the current challenge that we have that we need to solve as a matter of urgency is insecurity.
Right.
Because that should come first. If there is stability, then corruption will also reduce. In between the insecurity, there is corruption. The reason why I'm saying that is because there is insecurity. You now have people, the government is spending millions of naira, buying arms, and the politicians are siphoning. Even the military is alleged that the military hierarchies are also, they are very rich now because they are making so much from it. Some of them are building mansions, building hotels, and all that. So, insecurity, if they can, stop that, that means an average Nigerian will be able to refocus and think of development.
So, Doctor, should we be expecting mobilization from you and Nigerians in diaspora as we head towards the 2027 general elections? And I'd like to end by also asking, how is the Cross River Cross-Riverians, or how are Cross-Riverians in the diaspora faring at the moment? Two questions. Should we be expecting to see more involvement from Nigerian in diaspora as we head towards 2027 in Nigerian politics, and how are Cross-Riverians in the diaspora faring at the moment?
Yes, there is. We should be expecting. There is mass mobilization going, and there have been meetings upon meetings. People have been contacting me in terms of the direction. So many people, even members of our groups, are asking, what are we thinking about the elections? So we have been having conversations. We've also had conversations with a couple of people, including those that want to be presidents of countries. They have been chatting and asking us what we are thinking about the current government and where our direction. In terms of Cross-Riverians in the diaspora, we are apolitical. The group itself is apolitical, even though as some of us in the group, because it's a group that's made up of Cross-Riverians that live all over the world. So the leadership of the group doesn't have anything to do with politics, but we also we look at the way we talk to our politicians. We also talk to our leaders. We talk to our opinion builders, those that own decisions within our state, to think of development. So that is one of the things. Aside thinking of development, we also do community activities. We also do physical things that will make the life of our people better. So it's faring well. Different direction, different things, and very soon we have a kind of a change of leadership. So the new people will come in, bring in their ideas, and also see how we can move the organization forward.
I really needed to ask this country: the Nigerian passport respected? You've had experience where people respect you for using the Nigerian passport?
I have not actually had opportunity to be disrespected because of my passport. But in a way, there are some places airports where you go to, if you are traveling internationally, you will see that your passport is not that respected, because you discover that you are in a queue where you have almost 300 people standing in the queue, and there are other people that are just like three, just joining another queue. That means they are asking you, every other passport stands in this line, which is about 300 people in that queue, and it say if you're a British national, stand in the other queue, and if you're a United States national, you are also joining that queue. So they separate some people because their passport is internationally recognized. They don't need to pass through any kind of check. They can scan and then they go their way. Then you discover that yes, you really have concern of looking for a way to have a passport that will allow you to go the same way.
Thank you so much, Doctor.
Okay.
Right. Thank you so much. Thank you, Dr. Usi Ncho, Chairman of Cross-Riverians in the diaspora. We hope to keep speaking as to the contribution of the diaspora to Nigerian politics as we move towards 2027.
Thank you for having me.
All right, people, that's the size of our program for tonight. As I say always, remember to always love Nigeria. My name is Ubon Usoro in Abuja, and I'm saying bye for now.
Politics decides our economy. Politics shapes our security. Politics defines our future. But who is asking